was form-based zoning. It's kind of obscure, but let me tell you what it is. Our zoning code right now separates out uses. It says, here's houses, here's retail, and stores and that, and here's offices, and they're all separated out, which is why we're such a car-driven city. So form-based zoning, which they came up with because of the Trinity project, form-based zoning says you don't worry about what uses are in the building. You worry about how the buildings look. You worry about their heights. You set them far back from the street. You have wide sidewalks. It looks very much more urban. It's pedestrian driven. It's kind of West Village, Mockingbird Station type development. So what happened in that is we thought, this is okay, you know, we can go with form-based zoning. But as the process was moving forward, it turns out that some really foundational and very important neighborhood protections were not going to be in there. And one of them is called the residential proximity slope. I know Larry knows all this stuff, but this all gets kind of arcane, but let me tell you what it is. What it does basically is keep tall buildings pushed further back from single-family homes. For every foot of height, of the building, it has to be set back 3 feet from the nearest single-family house. So you kind of stair-step the height away, and then you don't have tall buildings looming over your single-family neighborhoods. Seems pretty common sense, I think, but we worked for 10 years throughout the 1980s to get that residential proximity slope, and it's been in place ever since. Well, comes the form-based zoning, and our council member in this area decided that he wanted to eliminate that protection. And this was very interesting to me because back in the 1980s when we were trying to redo the zoning code, he was for a 10-to-1 slope. And it's one of the reasons I supported him so strongly when he ran, because I thought, here we have somebody who is not only a business person, but he's a strong neighborhood advocate, and I think that's very important up here. So we spent a year helping convince him that that should remain as part of the form-based zoning code because it is a critical neighborhood protection. And finally, after we convinced every other member of the council, he gave up and he voted with them, and we got our form-based zoning with the residential proximity slope. But I spent a year working on that with groups all across the city so that we could have some strong neighborhood protections. So needless to say, I was somewhat unhappy with Ron over that. I wanted to talk a little bit about the city budget and something that you all don't hear too much about. 1/3 of the city budget at this point is made up of debt service to pay off bonds. You know, council members love bonds because you can do lots of things for your area. That's how you can get your alleys paved or repaved, and that's how you can get a whole lot of things, capital projects, only capital projects. They have to be a project that lasts at least 20 years. So I mean, you can't use it for something temporary. But we have racked up 1/3 of our budget in bond program debt service. And we're going to be having another, apparently, bond program in 2012. And I think they're talking about something like, well, several $100 million. I don't know that they've settled on a figure yet. But I would say, folks, that one of the important things is that we need to take that bond money and fix our levees and fix our pumps along the Trinity River. One of the pumps was scheduled in the last bond program for repair, but we have 6 pumps. We have a new one, a 7th one, but that one's in fine condition. We have 6 pumps, and those pumps are what pump, they have sumps along the levees, and they collect floodwaters, and then the pumps pump it over or under the levees into the floodway, and then the floodway takes that water away. If those pumps aren't working, all those areas on both sides of the levees get flooded and stay flooded. So I think that our bond program needs to spend the lion's share of money making sure those levees are fixed and making sure those pumps are working. And what they did in order to try and get quick money for the study on how much repair needs to be done for the levees is they took the dollars that were allocated in that bond program to fix the one pump and they put it into the levee study. So we need to, I think, in this bond program really focus on that and not add enormously more debt service to our budget when we're, and then kind of have the bond program be a goodie package for other things. So I'm going to kind of be real, if I get elected, and I hope I do, be real firm on that. I just think this can't be a bond package loaded with lots of goodies when we have to really pay attention to the fundamentally important needs, fund those, and then wait and then get some goodies later on when the economy gets better and we have some more money in the budget. I would tell you I was very fortunate in my 8 years on council. And that was, we always had excess money to spend. But in truth, what we did was fund a lot of goodies instead of socking it away for a day like this where we don't have a whole lot of money. So I wanted to also mention that they have the census figures in, and you may have heard this. Out of hundreds of thousands of new people that have moved into our region in the last 10 years, the city of Dallas proper got 9,500 of those. We only grew by 9,500 in 10 years. That means everybody's going out to the suburbs. And there's got to be a reason for that. And I think it has to do with quality of life and making your neighborhoods attractive. I understand it has a lot to do with DISD. But we can't do anything about DISD on the council. All we can do is be a bully pulpit. I gotta tell you, I remember an occasion where we were at a massive luncheon put on by, I think it was the Citizens Council, a business elite group. And Ron Kirk came and talked to them. And during the course of his talks, and council members were seated at one big 10-top round table, and right next to us was the school board, the DISD school board. And Ron Kirk said, what we need to do is, he says, we need to get rid of all those school board members. He said, get some good people in there, and maybe the mayor needs to help take over and run that district. You could feel the waves of ice just coming out, and they were muttering to each other. Well, fact is, that never went anywhere, because the city does its thing, and DISD does its thing, and it may be great if we could, kind of interfere somehow, or kind of try to help improve it, but we've got a lot on our plate running the city. And so I just don't know how much we can help make that happen. However, a mayor can be on a bully pulpit for that sort of thing. Council members really don't have too much to say about that. And I understand that's one reason why Dallas proper probably isn't getting the population growth it needs. But we really do need to focus on, when companies come here, they might locate in our city, but the people aren't living in our city. Clearly, they're moving out to the suburbs. There's got to be something that's attracting those families. And it's nice neighborhoods, and it's good schools. We all know that. That's what it's always been.